welcome. This session is part one of a three-parter. Have you ever wondered what the apostles would have taught on Good Friday at the crucifixion of our Lord? Everything was finished. Everything was over. And then on the Saturday, that waiting, no hope, everything gone. But then Sunday, everything changed. I do believe that this weekend experience, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have contained in the scriptures also. And I see it in Romans 6, our Friday, Romans 7, our Saturday, and Romans 8, our Sunday. And just for a few moments now, I want to look at Romans 6, our Friday. So many of us are wrestling with the Christian life, and if we're honest, are wrestling with habitual sin. You know, I've heard the phrase that Christians don't struggle with habitual sin. I've never heard such nonsense in my life, because we see it again and again in the scriptures that we wrestle with these things. We wrestle with ourselves. And we'll pick this up, especially when we look at our Saturday, our Romans 7 experience. But before we get into the struggle of Romans 7 and the victory of Romans 8, we have Romans 6. What's going on here? Paul starts off by saying, you know, should we continue in sin, that grace may abound? Should we've died to sin? How can we stay in it any longer? Don't you realize you were baptized with Jesus? He goes on to say, don't you realize that you are united with him in verse 5? You are planted together with Christ, the King James Version says. See, something's changed. And as we're trying to live the Christian life, so many of us don't realize that I don't need to live the Christian life. Peter cannot live the Christian life. That's why I had to be crucified with Christ. Because one of the problems that I have living the Christian life is me. You know, he needed to plant us together, unite us in his death. He says in verse 6, knowing that our old man was crucified with him, that the body of sin might be done away with. What does this mean? The way I understand it is this. When I get into my car and I'm going on the journey, there's this little thing I can press and it sets the journey back to zero. Now, there's thousands of kilometers on my car, or miles if you're listening in the UK or America. But when I press that journey, it goes to zero. I set it not and start afresh. This is exactly what the scriptures mean when it says that he crucified us. Our old man was crucified with him so the body of sin might be set at naught. You see, God is calling us to a place where we count this Adam life, this old life, as set aside, set apart, and in the place of death. And that our new is set apart and set alive by the life of the Spirit. And that little illustration of setting that at naught is what helps me. The problem is, though, Peter wants to live. Peter wants this Adam life to be satisfied. And that's where the wrestle with the Christian life comes in. Because constantly it's Peter wanting to have his way and Christ wanting to have his way. And there's a civil war going on. And he's done this and set us at naught, brought us into the place of death, so that sin will not have dominion over us. Verse 14, you shall not let sin have dominion over you. You're not under law, you're under grace. Reckon yourselves alive, in verse 11. Alive to God, but dead to sin. This is what he calls us to. Think of the monkey, okay, with yourself. And this is the story of my life. It's the story of your life, I've little or no doubt. In places like India and other places, okay, where they have lots of trees and jungles and everything else, and they've monkeys everywhere. We don't have them in Ireland. Some of our politicians maybe, but we don't have monkeys in the strictest sense. And what they do is they hollow out a coconut and they'll bore a hole in the coconut just enough for the monkey to fit his hand in. And as the monkey grabs the passion fruit or grabs the piece of banana, he can't get his hand back out of what has been drilled. And the monkey hasn't got the sense to let go. I think this is very much the way we are in our Christian life. We're fighting with our flesh. We want our old life back, and we simply will not let go. We've got to realize we need to let go of the old life and walk a different way. Jesus puts it this way in Luke 9:23. If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. May the Lord bless you this day.